Hi, Angelique. You're on mute and you're on, there's two of you. You have two. You're on twice. Okay. Okay, you're still on mute. There you are. Now there's just one of you. Now you just need to unmute. Still muted. Okay, now say something.
And how many of me are there now?
Two, but I can hear you.
And how can I delete myself? I mean, I don't have to be twice there. Let me see. Oh yeah, okay. This one has to leave. I don't know. I really don't know.
As long as it doesn't create an echo, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't it create an echo?
Oh, now there's just one of you. It's good.
Good.
Yeah,
That's
one screen.
That's only me. Okay, good for you. Good for me.
Oh, it's good to see you. I missed you.
Yeah, I missed you too, and I missed everyone. And you know, it's I've come back on last Saturday, and it's so strange to to come again in the rhythm of every day and to do the things you did before you were away. It's really strange, and it costs me more than other times. I don't know. There's really something different in me going on. Yeah.
I was been wondering if there's going to be things different in people because it seems like when we meet on Thursdays, we talk about where we are and people are changing.
Yeah.
And I feel different about my everyday life.
Oh, so do I. Yeah. So do I. Really, there's so many different things where I really care about than before. And it seems that the caring is also, in a certain way, in some ways, deeper, and in other ways, less deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's more about what is really important. That's exactly what I'm feeling.
Me too. It's I guess the two ways I would sum it up is my spiritual growth and being of service.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being of service is not how I thought it would be.
How did you thought it would be?
Well, how it is less other people and more my family. So I just spent 5 days house sitting for my son. We had a heat wave, so I was watering every day, a huge yard.
Oh, wow.
A garden, flowers and shrubs, 3 chickens, 2 cats.
Whoa.
2 guinea pigs and 2 fish.
And only one stew.
And they didn't leave me a note how to feed or what to feed the guinea pigs or the fish. So I had to read the fine print on the fish food and Google guinea pigs.
Wow. You must have been exhausted afterwards.
I was, because I also had to do physical therapy for my arm. And
yeah.
And I felt like
your arm, how is it going?
Well, I got in a car accident in January.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm in physical therapy and I can move it. I can raise it.
Wow.
I can carry a little teeny plate.
Okay. So it's
Really,
getting better. It's
it is
improving.
much better. So
Yeah.
next week I see my surgeon and I should start being able to strengthen muscles.
Good. Happy for you. Yeah. Wonderful. Great.
But the exercises, they're a lot of work. So when I first started, I couldn't hold my arm out. I could not hold it out. And then when I could hold it out, it felt like 100 pounds and I could only do it for like 15 seconds.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
But being of service is turning out very different than what I was thinking. You know, I thought I would get involved in an organization, get involved in a group of more people, doing more things in the group. No, it's about family. Anyway, that's what it's showing up as. Being for me is doing more for the family to help out, not taking care of them, not doing their work. But when they can't be two places at once and the time frame doesn't fit, then that's mine.
Yeah. Sounds great, really.
So
Yeah.
have you noticed how yours is changing?
Oh, yeah. In many ways, really. Well, it's also changing. My health is changing very much. After last year, I had not, well, I didn't expect anything actually, but well, I was not aware that my body had suffered such a trauma. And that's what I'm working at now. There's a lot happening in my body, and I'm with an acupuncturist, and there's a lot going on and improving, and some things are not. So yeah, that's another journey. So journey inside, getting physically and yeah, I mean, it's not only the physical, it's of course the four levels who are having to be rebalanced and in a appropriate way, and that you have enough energy. And my acupuncturist just found out that the energy of my kidneys is very low, so that's why I'm so tired, and that's where I'm working at.
Oh, good to know, though.
So yeah.
Okay. So we're just chatting about how we are, what we are, how things are going. And it feels like there's so much going on inside of me. It's taking my attention. So I'm not spending very much time focusing on what's going on in the world. And it's taking a lot of energy to take care of myself and to do my part of being of service. And I'm being called to be of service to my family. It's just taking a lot of energy and it makes me tired. So Angelique was just saying she's going through a lot of changes. It takes a lot of energy. She has to focus on her kidney. Was it your kidney?
Yeah. Well, amongst others.
Right. The whole body. When we're,
yeah.
I just think the transition time for a lot of us. Okay. Anybody else in transition?
I'm in transition from really working on that I'm not a body. I'm not a body. I'm working on trying that transition of being more connected to spirit and not to my body. And I've been working on that for some time, but it seems even more important right now. And I was, right before I went to bed last night, I was remembering one day, like probably I don't know, 8 months ago, there was a moment when I had walked out of the bathroom after, I don't know, combing my hair, doing something. And I stopped, and it was like right at the doorway, I stopped and I went, I connected with my spirit. I mean, I was fully in spirit. And it was when I wasn't meditating or trying to, it just happened. And I went, oh, and I wanted to stay in that moment forever because it was like I knew who I was. I knew, and then it was gone. It was, and I've thought about that from time to time. It's never happened in that strong a feeling. And last night before I went to bed, I just remember saying, I want to feel that feeling again. I want to have that connection. I want to live in that space and know that my body is important. My body's here for me to be the vessel for bringing love, doing whatever work I'm led to do in the world. But that's not where I want to live. And I remember saying that, and I hadn't said that in a long time. Now it didn't happen, hasn't happened, but I'm catching myself more and more during the day as something comes up or something comes up to upset me or whatever, to go, oh, but that's my human form. That's not where I really am. I can find peace in this moment because I'm not my body. I'm not my body. Anyway, that's what's going on for me.
So I have been waiting and waiting and waiting impatiently. I've been so frustrated for inspiration because I really feel like I want to spend, I'm going to turn 60 in a couple days. And, there's just, so that shift is happening in me where what am I going to do with this, final quarter of my life? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And where do I go from here? That's been my prayer. Where do I go from here, God? Where do I go from here? And what I know that I'd really like to do in fantasy land is really truly write, because I'll be able to do that to the end of my days and write and be published and then be able to speak on what I've written about. So I went away for 2 weeks up in our cabin in the mountains that has no internet and no electricity. And I thought, okay, I'm going to focus on my novels. And some stuff came. I mean, I would meditate every morning and I would call the characters who wants to be written about first. And a few brand new characters showed up, and that really surprised me. But none of it was inspiring. And I don't have the discipline to write. I just don't have the discipline to write. If I have a deadline, that will cause me to have discipline, because I never want to fail. So I will meet a deadline gladly, but I don't have anyone to give me a deadline, and my deadlines that I create for myself don't work. So, but inspiration, like when I wrote my last book, or even when I wrote Roar, it came to me. And in my last book, And I Know Now, I actually heard a voice that woke me up and said, Cinda, it is time. And so when people ask me, who did you write this book for? They might be asking me, who is my target market? And thinking that would be who I'm writing my book for. But no, I'm writing the book. I wrote the book for that voice that woke me up in the middle of the night. I was held accountable by that voice. Well, the voice visited me 2 days ago, and I had just come off of this meeting with a group of entrepreneurial women that I've belonged to for years and years and years. And it used to be called Connect to Success, but now it's called, we were getting really frustrated. There was drama and a lot of people quit. And then we had to ask someone to leave. That was the cause of the drama. And so now where there was 15 of us, there's now only 7. And we recreated the wheel. And we now call ourselves Wheel, W:'HEAL, women, so it says wheel, but it's women who heal, empower, ascend, and lead. And we have 6 primary pillars of growth, and that is personal, professional, spiritual, and community. And it is incredible. Well, we had a meeting on Tuesday night, and it was a shitstorm. Nothing came of it. I was so frustrated. They've all gone through my 7 Days of Grace program. They all want to tap into this divine energy of grace to help heal the world. And they're all committed to it, but none of them are doing the work. And I was so frustrated because we've all committed to keep a journal, a grace journal, and to document 5 things every night about our day of when we witness grace in action. I know I've talked to you already, some of you already about this, but it's not necessarily easy to do. It's not always easy to find grace, especially 5 moments of grace in your day. But I have learned in my own process of documenting these 5 representations of grace in my day, no matter how small, I'm realizing that the more that I am looking for grace outside of me, grace actually is finding me. And I find myself being a true representation of what grace means in the world every now and then, not always. But that's the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate goal of heal. And everyone is committed to it and no one's doing it. So I couldn't help but just be human, Lynn, and be frustrated and angry and like, we're supposed to, Anyway, so I came home and I'm like, where do I go from here? Where do I go from here? How are we going to activate people? What do we do? What do I need to do? And in the wee hours of the morning, the voice visited me and it said, your book is already written. What are you waiting for? And I went, oh my God, it's already written. For the last 2 years, I've been leading people through the 7 Days of Grace. The 7 Days of Grace are 7 chapters. Every single day of grace activization is already written out. Every ritual, it is nothing that needs to be guided. Everyone can do it on their own. It is completely empowering. And it's, so I immediately in one day wrote 3/4 of a book proposal. I found an agent and contacted my editor that's edited my other books. And they are all on board. So I'm just like, there we go. There we go. I'm finally, excuse me, fucking inspired because it's fucking, excuse me, time. And I am so fucking excited. Excuse my language. God. Anyway, so that's what I'm transitioning into, is embracing this and getting the proposal out there and finding some place where I really want to take it, because I really truly feel that grace is the coming of the Messiah, and the Messiah isn't in human form. It is within each of us. We are the walking Messiahs. So that is, anyway, that's my mission now.
Okay, Sharon.
Okay, it's interesting because every part of my computer is frozen except Zoom. I cannot close anything, move anything. I cannot mute myself at all. But Zoom is still working, so I wasn't sure so I got my phone. I'm going to transition over to my phone once we go to our quiet work. I'm probably a little bit behind with the rest of you, behind Cinda, in that there's a lot of what I have thought we're coming to solutions and resolutions, and I think that's the case. I'm focusing a lot on on family, but also community family. So it feels to me like it's still a little rocking and rolling, and a lot of, during the night, I was really feeling that holding a presence, being a pillar, if you will. I've used that word too recently. Being a presence and strengthening the presence, which might be also in really what you're talking about too, Lynn. You're not a physical being, but you're a presence. And the physical being gives you the opportunity to be a presence in physical too, but it's the presence that radiates through the body expression here. And as I was really sensing the importance of our spiritual presence in the body, it took me back to the story of when I think it was Mary Magdalene that taught Christ's presence and was healed. Remember that?
Mhm.
And I went, and that going back to the statement, your presence is enough, is kind of what's up for me, right now today, because there's so much going on in, I know, my life, my family's life, the community's life, and then the world, that it could feel absolutely overwhelming. But if what we're here to do is to acknowledge and know the presence that is our gift to the whole, and let that be amplified and clarified and anchored and loved, that radiation is enough. So kudos to you, Cinda. I mean, that's really exciting. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. And it's very interesting with this computer deal. I had to turn, it had done that. That's why I was late. I had to turn the whole thing off, start again. And now again, it's totally frozen except for Zoom.
You did turn it off and come back in already?
I did before. That's why I was late. I couldn't come in because I couldn't get in.
Well, do you want to
I'm gonna
do you
go.
want to and come back, try it again and see if it will fix it? Because so many times that does fix it.
I'm just gonna come in on my phone. Once you start, I'm gonna come in on my phone and
Okay.
computer.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Sue.
Well, what an exciting circle. Yes, Angelique, but go ahead.
Yeah, there is really something beautiful I would love to share with all of you, because I do believe in miracles and in beauty of the world and nature, Mother Nature. We were 2 weeks in France, and I came back last Sunday.
Recording.
And then
Just a minute. I'm going off computer.
okay.
That was a transitional word. Sorry, Angela.
Okay.
Very interesting. So we were in France, and as I said, my body is really transforming in this moment in time. And yeah, it seems like there are many things to catch up with, which I couldn't do over the past 2 years, is now just transforming. And we went off, and I started with an eye infection, and then I came in France and it became only worse. And then I got bitten by some really nasty little insects, which were, yeah, really nasty. They crawl underneath your skin and they leave in 3 days, and then your body is really poisoned for a part. And it felt so awful, and I was really getting really angry, and saying, shit, I'm here and I want to have my holidays. That's what I'm here for. And I want to really relax and, embrace the peace and the quiet of the countryside and everything. So what we did was we went for a beautiful tour along the Loire, and the Loire is one of the most beautiful rivers in France, and the borders are amazingly beautiful. So I took my camera, of course. I love taking pictures, and that makes me really happy. So I was photographing a lot and a lot to really get over this feeling of, frustration and feeling terrible. And so I got this camera and taking pictures over the whole days. And we were along the Loire, and I said to Robert, just stop the car. This is such a beautiful sight, a beautiful view where we are now. I want to really take some pictures. And I stood there, and this part of the place where I stood was hanging a little bit over the waters, and I had a beautiful view I was taking a different direction, so I could take the whole picture. And I did, and it was fantastic weather. And then I loved to walk away again, and I thought, oh no, I take another one. But I was held on my skirt by bushes, by raspberry bushes. With the thorns kept me in my dress and held me back. So I loosened it, and I took another picture, and I wanted to walk away, and I did it again, hold me back on my skirt. So I had to go down on my knees to loosen my skirt. And there was this, divine little bird, just died. And it is a thrush, a singing thrush, just laying there. It was still warm, and it died from the heat. It was really, really hot then. So that was really a message of the spirits, and really as how I conceive it. And I know the medicine of the thrush is that everything we work out in ourselves, in the outer world, we also have to work out in our inner world, and then combine those two and become whole again. And this was such a blessing. So I took it with me, and gave thanks, of course, and did the ceremony for the bird. And I will send you some pictures. It is such a divine, beautiful, beautiful creature. And I first didn't know what to do. And what I usually do is asking from the bird if it's possible that I can have some feathers or maybe little pieces or whatever. And now I didn't, because it was so pristine, so beautiful of its own. I didn't want to touch anything. It was just, these little robes that kings wore in the old days, that is his little breast, all covered with those little dark spots on the white surface. Well, it was amazing. So I put it in the fridge for a couple of days, and because it was so hot. And then I was meditating on it, and then I got it out of the fridge and laid on the table and just watching it. It has to stay here. So I asked our the people of the property, can I bury this birdie in your garden? Is it okay for you when I do that? And she immediately jumped up and said, oh yeah, we're going to look for a beautiful place, and come on, I know this, and she was so helpful and so enthusiastic, and also her husband. And so we found a lovely place under a butterfly bush, these beautiful, beautiful bushes. And then her husband came and brought an amazing, beautiful stone to lay upon this little grave. And it was like really so ceremonial and so, so dear. So I don't know, overwhelming, really, really, really a spiritual little journey within. And I asked the bird before she went into the grave, will it be okay for you when I take your little wings? And the answer was, oh yes, of course, because you're a creator and you can make something beautiful out of it. And so I only clipped the little wings and took them home. So, and the rest is in this little grave. So yeah, this was beautiful, and I'd love to share this with you because it's a little miracle. I mean, when you're feeling so distracted and so not connected, and you don't do anything, just don't do anything, then the miracles come to you. And that's exactly how it happened. So thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the circle is actually set, but I'm going to just do a little more because I can feel that all negativity is already gone. It is just gone. And I want to call in all the elements because they help balance us. And I want to call in all the kingdoms because each one of them holds wisdom. And then have you call in your guides, your helpers, any circles that feel supportive to you. And we're going to call in our teams of protection to watch over us, keep us safe in our meditation. And I'm setting my intention to connect to my higher self, to the wisdom of the presence within. Find the words that work for you for that connection with spirit, with divinity, with source within. Your power words that create that connection for you. And to me, it's a surrender. I surrender my thoughts. My will is my intention. I am choosing to sit in silence, at peace, and allow the presence within to open my mind, open and expand my spiritual heart for a new experience. And for the new experience is what we are going to sit in the silence for. And we're going to sit in this for 10 to 15 minutes. And then I will call us back. And if you're not feeling completely calm, use your breath to get to that space of surrender and trust and expansion to the presence within. Happy journeying. You may very gently, slowly start coming back if you are ready. Okay, welcome back. Who would like to go first? Do you have something to share?
Oh my gosh. So I laid down on the ground and I put my legs up on the wall. I've been gardening before I came on the call. I have leaves in my hair and my body is exhausted already. And our air conditioner went out, so it's getting warm in the house already. Anyway, oh my gosh, I just sat there and I started to contemplate if spirituality isn't really a luxury for the privileged. And I mean, obviously, spirituality and beliefs are there for everyone and are there for everyone. But is the practice of spirituality a privilege? So I went down that road and I followed it and I followed it. And I thought about missionaries that go out and try to convert. So then I was asking, kind of looking at them and wondering what makes them think that they have more access to spirit than those they're trying to convert. Is it their skin color? Is it their economic wealth? Is it their material possessions? Is it their education? Is it their, it's their privilege, I think. And then I thought about, we do our spiritual work when we give homeless people money. And then we feel like we're doing God's work as if this homeless person doesn't have their own connection to God. And just made me wonder what that's privilege. Anyway, I went down that road. That was interesting. I don't have any more thought about that, but I was deep in that space of privilege and if I'm a single parent with multiple jobs, trying to keep a roof over my children's head and food in their belly and the heat on, do I have the luxury of time to meditate and connect to spirit in the traditional sense? And yeah, so that's where I went for some reason. I'm complete.
Another question that arose for me, because I think we're really moving into a major possibility change time, is what will it take to end instantly the impact that outsiders have had on the lives of our star families here on mission? Because that diversity between the privileged and those deep in the experience, we're both the same, we're on the same mission. But it's time to say we're complete totally. And now how do we build from our divine identity and frequency? So I'm going to be with that for a while, and because that's really burning hot. It's time. And as you can see back on my computer,
I went into the kingdoms, the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom, and the human kingdom, and felt divinity so big and so complete in each one, and that we all hold wisdom. And being able to tap into it would be a fascinating, fabulous experience. I've started being able to tap into trees as I sit in the garden. I've been sitting in the garden a lot of hours, and the trees are just magnificent. And there's a whole energy, there's a whole world, there's a whole reality. The presence is just enormous. Well, unlimited. And that's true of each of the kingdoms, but I just am seeing trees and trees connected to whales. And then I was in the 4 elements, and it's showing me that they bring balance within and balance without. And the balance without doesn't mean it's for the world, it means it's around me. If I'm calling in the balance, I get to experience the balance. And it's up to each of us to call it in. And then what I've been shown over the last few months, April, May, June, July, 4 months, is the presence within activates within me in the moment when I take a pause and ask, how can I do this different? So it was different for my granddaughter and I when we went shopping. It was different for my granddaughter and I when we went shopping again 2 weeks ago. And we've healed our relationship by my pausing and asking how to do this different. So what I have an intention to do with women, I did with her. I was emotionally, mentally supportive and spiritually supportive of her. I gave her her voice. I empowered her by my behavior. I empowered her by my behavior. And we negotiated at one point, and it was so fun. And then day before yesterday, I spent hours with my grandson shopping for school clothes, hours. And as soon as the date was set, I immediately went into, I'm going to manage this, and this is how it's going to be managed and controlled. And I caught myself. Old behavior, not acceptable. So all day long, I would go inside and pause and say, now what? Now what? Now what do I do? And it took us a long time to find jeans he liked. And we had to go through all the jeans to find his size. There was 3 pair, we bought 3 pair. And I called mom because on sale, they were $50 each. And I just wasn't sure she was okay with that. And she said, if he's happy, I'm happy. So it went really well. And then everybody went to bed. I thought everybody went to bed. And then all the lights were on, the door was open, nothing was locked up. And I thought everybody went to bed. They didn't. There was a crisis upstairs with the teenage daughter. And afterwards, my daughter-in-law came down and said, she's a teenager, she's not even 15 yet, She wants to go to her boyfriend's house. She wants to spend all her time with her boyfriend. And we're not allowing that. We're allowing the boyfriend, and he can come with us on some things. She's not going to his house because we don't know if the parents are home. We don't know what the parents are like. We don't know anything. And I sent her a text. We talked, and she was so grateful, and she hugged me, and she said she loved me, and she thanked me. And then I sent her a text yesterday morning, and I said, the best thing I can think of to suggest to you, I have clarity now more than I had the other night, is that the more information everybody has, the more, the safer everybody's going to feel by the decisions being made. So have the kids, everybody, have a discussion on what hormones are, how they affect the thinking, how they affect the body, how they affect the emotions. Are emotions real? Are emotions, do we need to act on them? Can we control them? Do we have choices? What are our choices? What does that mean? If she can learn what's involved and make wise decisions, you can trust her. Because when she leaves the house, parents have no control. So it just seemed like that's what we're doing with each other, was we're empowering each other. We're gathering information, we're sharing information, we're sharing our experiences, and it affects each one of us. And last week, I was so in neutral, I had no thought, no idea, no inspiration what to do with my hour. And I thought, it must be time for me to quit and pass the torch on to someone else to lead. And by the end of our session, it was like, no, it's just going the next level. I mean, anyone can volunteer to lead. I put it out there on Slack. Any volunteers, just let me know. But I've got more clarity about the presence within, and it's available to me when I pause, break the old behavior pattern, and ask, what's next? What do I do next? I'm complete. Thank you.
It was a very short journey for me. I just stepped in, and there stood Michael, Archangel Michael, just before me, and it's very emotional for me. He was just standing there, and he said, "Oh, finally, you're there again. You're home again, and I will lead you to the way. And every path you choose is your path. Don't be afraid to choose your path, because everything is okay." And he said, "I'll comfort you on the way, and I'll guide you. Just trust that you set the right steps." And that was it. So, no further comment. I'm complete.
Again, a very powerful circle and meditation time. I love our shares. It just helps me find clarity and tie up all the loose ends for a better understanding of this spiritual journey. I really truly believe we are empowering each other. And the women I work with, what we are focusing on is that pause, because I believe my real power is in the pause, because I'm making a choice. between my ego and my personality are very intertwined. But the presence within and my will together is a power and a force I am just beginning to get a sense of. So where is your true power?
Lynn, did you want to share?
Oh, Lynn hasn't shared yet? Lynn?
I didn't really have anything to share from my meditation. I think I fell asleep. But I guess what I would share, and it kind of adds on to what Sharon said and what I was saying, is for me, and you too, so my presence is what it's about. It's being in this moment, being present in the moment is where my power is. Not only my power, but it's where my connection is. It's where my love and my grace and my impact can be. So present, not worrying about the future, not hanging on to the past. Because that's where the miracles happen. And I think that's why the meditation is so powerful, because it brings us back into the present. It may take us somewhere, but it brings us really into being fully present, not being somewhere else. And I think when we do that, we are seen for who we really are too. It's not only us seeing, but we're seen. And yeah, I have a story I could share on that, but I want to take the time now. So anyway.
You don't want to share your story?
What time is it?
9:56. Or yeah, I forgot.
I can share it in 4 minutes. So we took a play date on Monday, which we don't do very often. And we just, blocked out our calendar, my husband and I. We went to Tacoma. We decided we were going to go to Point Ruston. And there's also at Point Ruston, at the very end of the point, there's the dunes. And it's all natural area, and it's beautiful and whatever. But anyway, when we were back, kind of in the more developed area of the point, which is restaurants and craft stores and all kinds. I don't know if anyone's been there. I don't know if you have, Sue. But Tom went back to the car to take a nap. I wanted to go check out some of the little boutiques or whatever. And I remember we were there a couple years ago, and I remember there was a little store that I could only go into for like a minute because we had tickets for the zoo. It was during COVID when you had to have tickets for a certain time. And we were going to the zoo, which I hadn't been to in like 20 years. And I remember it was just a cute little store with everything in it. So I went back to find it, and I did. And it's a store that has everything from jewelry to candles to journals to clothes to, just every time you walk around one corner, there's something else, and really sweet things and special things. And so I bought a couple things, a journal and some cards, and went up to the counter, and there were two women helping, and one of them, all of a sudden she stopped and showed me, she says, "Oh my gosh, you have the most beautiful skin." And I said, really? So I don't wear any, I do put some things on my eyebrows, so I have eyebrows, but other than that, I don't wear any makeup. I don't make any I used to wear a foundation. I don't wear it ever since my surgery. I thought this is, I didn't for months, and I thought, why am I putting this crap on my face? So, and I said, thank you. And she says, no, really? She says, I need to know, what creams are you using? What are you using on your face? And we started this conversation, and she wanted to know how old I was. And I told her, well, I just turned 75. And she went, oh my gosh. And you don't have any wrinkles. And I'm looking at her, and she, as it turns out, is her mid 50s. She has gorgeous skin. I mean, beautiful skin that's flawless. And she says, I want skin like yours. And I'm going, you have the most beautiful skin. She says, yeah, but I want to have this kind of skin when I'm 75 years old. And this got into a conversation about her life and how she left an abusive marriage, just finished cancer chemotherapy for stage 4 cancer a few months ago. But she was vibrant and lovely. And I said, how do you feel? How's your energy? She says, oh, it's great, better than ever. She says, I got out of that awful marriage. I came up here, only been here a couple of weeks. Today's my first day working here. I came up here because my grandkids are here. But she just kept going back to my skin. She says, no, really, have you had any work done? And I said, no. And I mean, I think I have okay skin, but it's not like knockout gorgeous skin, and I thought about that after. In fact, we exchanged. She gave me her phone number because she wanted me to text her all the products I was using on my skin. I told her I've changed these real, totally natural, moisturizer, etc. And as I left, I thought, she saw more than my skin. Yeah. I thought she was seeing my spirit. And she, in that, asked me to pray for her and this new man she had met, that for this relationship, if it would be what's God's will and all this other stuff. I mean, she didn't know that I pray, but, so to me, that's presence. Somehow I brought my presence to that interaction with her, and she saw something beautiful. In fact, we both said, could we just sit here for the next 15 minutes and tell each other how beautiful we are? So it was kind of fun. So that's my story.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Really quickly, I'm listening to a book by David Hawkins, and it's called The I, E-Y-E, the I of the I, capital I. And he talks about how they're, when they've been taking readings on the frequency of certain things and certain people and certain emotions, and there's a hierarchy to emotions and the higher frequency emotions. And if we choose to live at a higher frequency, if we choose to live in the light and love and be that out in the world, the higher the frequency, the higher the reading is. They can actually take these readings. But he says that the higher frequencies can counterbalance the lower frequencies among us, which is where the majority of the population reside. The higher frequencies can counterbalance one of us at a higher frequency of joy, of love, divine love, of, all those higher things that we all strive for. When we reside in that, we counterbalance millions of other people's lower energy because we travel faster. We counterbalance it. We make a difference. So Sharon was saying, just the essence, and Lynn, just that moment when we embrace, and Sue, when we embrace that moment in the pause, in the gap, and we become one with, like right now, what we did during this hour, the counterbalance is felt throughout the universe, and we are keeping those lower vibrations from doing more harm. I think that that's incredible. We just don't know it. We can't see it, but they've taken readings of it somehow. And it's just fascinating to consider the science that's actually there to prove it.
Yes, we are raising the consciousness of humanity. And that's how we save the world. Literally.
Exactly.
That's how we save the world. But you know what I was thinking, Cinda, you wrote your book in the moment.
Right. Right.
You can't make the book happen, but you wrote the book already in the moment as you were planning for your course. That is just so awesome. That is just so awesome.
I did. It was just like there. It's like, you've already written it. What do you mean? What are you doing? And I'm like, oh my God, voice, you're right. You're right. It's all there. It's already all done. I just now need to put it in book form. Oh my God. So,
That ceremony too. I bet angelic ceremonies are amazing. I just have the feeling you do amazing ceremonies because of your presence in the ceremony, because every ceremony is in the moment, right? Yeah.
and so beautifully guided, Angelique, so beautifully guided. I mean, we were all crying, but when you were talking about Michael, how powerful.
Well, I love to share a little bit about that because Michael was the first I met when I started my spiritual path. And I really felt so connected. And during the way, there has happened so many things that I lost track for a while. And then he came back. You know, it's like a traffic light, sort of. And now I have had these two really difficult past 2 years, emotionally and physically. And then he's there again. It's just standing, arms open wide and saying, come on home, you're home again. And it's such a, you know, it's a miracle, really. Like, wow, I never asked for it, but it's just there. And yeah, well, that's what I also said with this little bird. It's also this angel energy kept in a little bird. And it's so divine. I mean, actually, I don't need anything more than that, you know? It's just the way we see lights shining through. And then you only have to see it and experience it. So, yeah. Yesterday we had a grandmother ceremony here. And I have a new grandmother in the circle. And she is also a wonderful, beautiful, amazing sister. And you know, that was so full of light. And we did also a healing circle for one of my friends who is diagnosed with cancer. And, you know, there was just this enormous spiritual fire burning in the center of the circle. And we were doing this journey and holding hands in this journey, being together on a sacred space. And it was like, wow, this is so powerful. And I mean, yeah, what you're saying, Cinda, I guess, and I feel it's so true that when you're raising your energy and and even when you do it together with each other and standing in circle in spirit, I mean, not even physically, but spiritually and connecting. I mean, then you just see the energies rise and feel it in your bones. And you know that it's not only here, but it's in all 4 directions, you know, with all brothers and sisters from the world. So that's what healing is about, I guess. And I'm really thankful for you, Sue, for being part of your circle now, and love to come. It's just not a very handy time for me because most of the time we are having dinner on this time, or I'm in the kitchen, or you know. But today I'm off. I'm alone, and I just felt I had to be here, and I love to be in your circles. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Love and light goes out as a ripple. So let's each of us be a channel for love and light. Anything else somebody else wants to say?
Angelique, where do you live?
In Holland, in the Netherlands.
Holland. Okay.
On the west coast in The Hague. And it's on the sea side. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I keep hoping Sharon will do ceremony. I love ceremony. I love fire ceremony. I love moon ceremony. I love pipe ceremony. I love sweats. And Sharon has, it's not her property, but right behind her house, there's a big field. And
Wow.
if the man next door, the owner of the house, doesn't mind, that would be a perfect place to have a ceremony because it's private.
Yeah. So wonderful.
Another way to connect.
Oh yeah, really. So
Thank you, everyone, for your sharing.
Thank you. Okay. Take care, everybody.
bye-bye.